Hello everyone and welcome to my review of The Mysterious Island. The Mysterious Island is a beautiful, content-rich, open-world map for Heroes 3 Horn of the Abyss, inspired by Jules Verne's world. It's also a very personal project, a dream that started 27 years ago in the mind of a child, channeled by the book as an idea of a Heroes 2 map. In 2020, it turned into a Heroes 3 project, and after 5 years' work, the community can play and enjoy it. What you get is exactly what the title promises. You explore a strange island, uncover secrets, stumble into jokes and Easter eggs, fight pirates and other threats, and gradually progress through the story. Importantly, the map gives you a guidance, enough to be useful, but not so much that it feels like the map is holding your hand and forces you to do things a certain way. Progression here is one of the map's biggest strengths. It's clear and very simple, but still engaging. At basically every point you have a good sense of what your next goal is. The map also does a great job with progression markers. You unlock access to more and more tents and portals as you progress, often enough to feel your progress and with meaningful but subtle rewards after each next step. It just feels good. Crucially, progression isn't time-gated. You won't get punished for playing fast and you won't get hard stuck for playing efficiently. There is one early game exception. A single time condition exists, but it's something you can play around, and it won't matter unless you can finish the entire map in under 50 days, which is extremely fast. Roughly a month quicker than the current record pace. If that's you, honestly, contact the author, I'm sure he'll happily lower it. This map has one of the most comprehensive difficulty systems I've ever seen in Heroes 3. It's much more than just regular difficulty. It doesn't merely make AI smarter or dumber or change starting resources of players and AI. To better understand the idea, consider that 200% difficulty is made with a good number of restrictions, more on that later, and lower difficulties open you access to more resources and powerful spells throughout the map, help you with town building and hero development, make enemy heroes weaker, and so much more. The lower the difficulty, the more help you get. The result is that the map is very approachable for less experienced players, while still offering real progression and satisfying wins for all skill levels. Choosing a difficulty here isn't about pride, it's not an automatic I pick 200% as usual, it's genuinely a meaningful choice. For top-tier players, the map probably won't feel very challenging in raw combat terms, but it may keep you engaged anyway because it has a great logistics aspect. It doesn't force waiting around and works very well for speedrunning, encouraging therefore multi-army management, which as a result improves the combat difficulty. However, the combat challenge is still there, and the endgame in particular brings a good variety of great enemies, so the map doesn't fizzle out into a victory lap. And when you are done with your biggest enemies, the map actually gives you many tools to help you clean up the remaining enemies fast. In my opinion, flexible difficulty, along with a smooth progression, constitute the biggest strength of this map. And I think they're a huge part of why the Mysterious Island has been received so well by the community. Economy is another area where the map quietly does a lot right. Continuing the difficulty discussion, on 200%, the early game feels meaningfully poor, enough to be a challenge, not enough to be miserable. On lower difficulties, you get more and more help to ease you into the map to make the gameplay more rewarding and enjoyable for you. Luxury resources are fairly scarce, and mines for them are mostly positioned in contested areas, for which you will have to fight your enemies, so economy ties naturally into map control. To add more emphasis on resources, there are multiple great uses for both luxury and basic resources. They actually matter a lot and end up contributing to your progression in meaningful ways. It feels great when you need to open a portal to connect your towns, or open a shortcut to an enemy town and you saved up enough resources to do so. Overall, the economy feels like a significant part of the gameplay, not just something that you forget about after building up your cities. Let's discuss another aspect of creating a challenging experience, and that is the notable restrictions. On 200% difficulty, the map delays access to many of the most game-breaking spells, such as Slow, Blind, Berserk. These are pretty common to be disabled, but also importantly, Clone and Hypnotize, the latter being sometimes even stronger than Blind or Berserk. On lower difficulties, you get some of these spells earlier, which makes the playthrough noticeably more comfortable, and that's exactly the point of a flexible difficulty system. Another important point, you may have noticed that I didn't mention resurrections there, and that's right, it is available at one of your native towns. Fortunately for those who play 200% difficulty, seek a higher challenge, and may be concerned that it trivializes the game a little bit too much, it only simplifies the middle game and has a very limited impact on the end game. I think it works out fairly well. One other notable spell is Town Portal, and it's not available until very late. However, the game doesn't grind down to a halt because of it. It's still highly dynamic thanks to multiple portal networks that are very easy to understand and are extremely practical for map logistics. As for skills, some of them are disabled during level ups, most notably the Scholar and Eagle Eye. These two skills, however, are available to heroes you access later, and they are an intended part of the game's progression. One last thing to note is hero selection. When starting, you can pick almost any hero, including many of the strongest classic options such as Armorer and Logistics Specialists. However, after you picked your faction, the hero choice shrinks a little bit. Basically, if you play blue, green or purple, you don't get access to the heroes of factions belonging to brown, orange and teal player, and similarly, if you play brown, orange or teal, you won't get access to heroes natural to blue, green or purple. If you intend to use a hero from a different faction as your main, such as Tazar, be aware that he's in the blue, green, purple camp. Check out the factions associated with each color on the game start screen to get an idea which heroes will be available to you. Let's recap the map's strengths and weaknesses. Strengths first. 1. It's a beautiful map with tons of content, secrets and objectives. It feels alive. 2. It has a smooth progression with many satisfying checkpoints along the way. 3. The map was polished through feedback. The author clearly listened to players and refined the map over time. The current version feels like the end result of multiple rounds of intelligent tuning, with pain point addressed one by one. 4. Thanks to the flexible difficulty, it genuinely supports almost any skill level. On 200% difficulty, access to the most broken spells is delayed, improving the level of challenge. 6. The map doesn't bog you down, logistics are strong, and you can play fast and aggressive. 7. On top of all of that, the map even has a Hall of Fame. Finish the map, report your result to the author, and your completion gets featured in the map credits at the very end. Okay, let's get to the weaknesses, shall we? 1. The mid-game combat on 200% can feel a bit too easy for high-skill players. Once you get rolling, and especially once Resurrection enters the picture, beating your competition can become fairly routine. That said, if you treat mid-game as a phase to optimize and accelerate, it becomes a really fun logistics and multi-army management challenge rather than a combat challenge. And don't worry, the combat challenge returns once you enter the endgame. 2. There are a few hidden events, mostly positive, but with a small number of ambushes. In my experience, negative events are rare, usually not very dangerous, and often there are warning signs. I got surprised maybe once, and it didn't bother me much, but it's worth mentioning. And that's about it, and trust me, I tried very hard to find more weaknesses without getting obnoxiously pedantic. That's all I got. This map is honestly perfect for almost everyone. For any skill level, the difficulty system gives you enough support to find a setting that fits. You might need a restart or two to find your sweet spot, but once you do, it's extremely rewarding and it naturally invites you to try higher difficulties later. The community response reflects that too. The map's thread on Maps for Heroes is full of players across all skill levels having overwhelmingly positive experiences. Where it might fall short is for players seeking an ultimate combat challenge all the way through. The mid-game can feel too easy in terms of battles. But if you are experienced, here is the best mindset shift. Treat it as a speedrun map. There are plenty of decent combat challenges to overcome if you don't bog down in the middle game. If you do that, it becomes way more interesting, because the map gives you all the tools to play fast and rewards you for doing it well. Personally, I think the Mysterious Island is on track to become a staple of Heroes 3 map making. It represents a trend that I really like, difficulty tuning that goes far beyond what the game does on its own, because the default difficulty system is nowhere near enough to serve the full range of the Heroes 3 player base. However, recent Horn of the Abyss changes to the map editor provide a great opportunity to take advantage of all 5 difficulties we have and make them all playable and fun. Some years ago, Wayfarer was the map that acted as a gateway into challenge maps for me, and still does for many others. I can genuinely see the Mysterious Island becoming a gateway map too, but for a much wider audience, not just people hunting extreme difficulty, but players who want a custom adventure that feels polished, fair, and fresh. I thoroughly enjoyed my run and even managed to set a new record time. Wow. However, I'm still tempted to replay it someday, because I know there is a lot to improve in my playthrough. And honestly, I doubt that my record will stand for long. For all I know, by the time this video goes live, someone may have already beaten it. Either way, it was a fun playthrough, so if you want to see the map in action, check it out. And I can't wait to see someone push it under 2 months. If nobody does, well, maybe I'll take another shot later myself. That's it for my review of the Mysterious Island. If you played it, let me know what faction and difficulty you chose and how it went for you. And if you haven't, hopefully this helped you decide whether it's your kind of map. Last but not least, if you enjoyed the Mysterious Island and want to support its author in creating more Heroes 3 maps, he just launched a Ko-Fi page. This support helps him take time off from his IT job to focus on map making. All maps remain completely free for everyone. There are membership tiers offering a number of cool perks. Check them out, the link is in the description. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.